In the 14th century, Paris was one of the largest cities in Europe, with a population reaching nearly 200,000 people. At a time when most towns were small and quiet, Paris was crowded, noisy, and constantly active. The streets were narrow and often packed with merchants, carts, animals, and people trying to move through the city. Buildings were constructed very close together, sometimes even leaning toward each other, blocking sunlight from reaching the ground. This overcrowding created both opportunity and danger. Markets were always full, trade was strong, and people from different regions gathered here. However, the lack of space made daily life stressful and uncomfortable. Privacy was almost non-existent, and families often lived in very small rooms. The crowded conditions also made it easier for diseases to spread quickly. One sick person could infect many others in a short time. Despite its importance and size, life in Paris was far from comfortable. It was a place where survival depended on your ability to adapt to constant noise, pressure, and limited space. Life in Paris during the 14th century was extremely unsanitary. There was no proper sewage system, and waste disposal was a major problem. People would throw garbage, leftover food, and even human waste directly into the streets. In some cases, they would simply dump it out of their windows, often without warning anyone below. As a result, the streets were filled with mud, trash, and foul-smelling liquids. When it rained, everything mixed together into a thick, dirty mess that covered the roads. Walking through the city required careful steps to avoid stepping into waste. Rats thrived in this environment. They fed on garbage and multiplied rapidly, spreading disease throughout the city. The smell in many areas was overwhelming, especially during warmer months. Clean water was also limited, and people rarely bathed compared to modern standards. These conditions created a dangerous environment where illness could spread easily. For most residents, living in such filth was normal, even though it posed serious risks to their health and survival. In the mid-14th century, Black Death devastated Paris and changed life forever. This deadly disease spread rapidly across Europe, and Paris was one of the cities that suffered greatly. Within a short period of time, tens of thousands of people died. Some estimates suggest that nearly half of the city's population was lost. The disease spread quickly due to overcrowding and poor sanitation. People had no understanding of bacteria or viruses, so they could not effectively protect themselves. Many believed the plague was a punishment from God, while others blamed different groups or searched for supernatural explanations. Fear dominated daily life. Families were torn apart, and entire neighborhoods became silent as people died or fled the city. Bodies were buried in mass graves because there were too many deaths to handle individually. The Black Death left a deep psychological impact on survivors. It changed how people viewed life, religion, and death. Even after the worst passed, the memory of the plague remained, shaping the future of Paris for generations. The diet of most people in Paris during the 14th century was simple and often limited. Bread was the main food and was eaten with almost every meal. It was usually made from wheat for the rich, while the poor consumed darker bread made from cheaper grains. Soup or porridge was also common, often made with vegetables and whatever ingredients were available. Meat was rare for the average person and usually eaten only on special occasions. Fish was more common, especially during religious fasting periods when meat was forbidden. Food quality varied greatly depending on wealth. The rich enjoyed large feasts with multiple dishes, including meat, spices, and wine. Meanwhile, the poor struggled to get enough food to survive. Famine was a real threat. Bad weather or failed harvests could lead to food shortages, causing hunger across the city. Malnutrition weakened people and made them more vulnerable to disease. Eating was not just about taste, it was about survival. For many, each meal was uncertain, and hunger was a constant part of life.